Do you feel God pulling you away from what's familiar? And you can't ignore the way your spirit knows He's preparing you for something greater. You begin to notice that certain habits, patterns, and distractions no longer fit where God is taking you. And it forces you to look at your heart in a deeper way. You sense that God is stretching you beyond convenience because He is preparing you for a level of love that requires maturity, patience, and emotional clarity. You feel Him removing people who drain your spirit, even when you wanted them to stay, because He knows your heart needs room for what's coming. You start realizing that obedience isn't punishment, it is positioning, shaping you into someone who can love in a healthier and more committed way. You understand that sacrifice is not God taking from you, but God clearing what blocks the blessing He already planned to give you, including the marriage He knows your heart truly desires. 1. The sacrifice of letting go of what no longer supports your growth. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. You reach a moment where God begins showing you that certain relationships are holding you back more than helping you move forward. You feel the tension in your spirit every time you try to hold on to something He already whispered for you to release. Your peace becomes disturbed in places where you used to feel comfortable. Your heart becomes heavier around people who once made you feel secure. You realize that God is revealing the truth because He wants to free you, not hurt you. You begin to see that letting go is not rejection but redirection. The things you try to cling to start slipping away because God is protecting you from emotional harm you cannot yet see. Your spirit shifts and you feel uncomfortable staying where you used to settle. You sense God pushing you into a new level of maturity that requires emotional honesty. You understand that release is part of preparation. You may struggle with the fear of losing people or routines you depended on. Your heart aches because you hoped they would grow with you. You battle with confusion because the change feels sudden, even though God warned you quietly for months. You feel guilt for outgrowing what kept you stagnant. You realize that obedience often hurts before it helps. You accept that letting go is an act of love toward your future. You trust that God cannot bring the right spouse into a life filled with the wrong attachments. You begin to understand that growth requires room. You open your heart to the idea that God removes what harms you, even when you think you need it. You recognize that the sacrifice of release is the doorway to the marriage God has prepared for you. 2. The sacrifice of healing from past hurt before God gives you new love. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. You carry wounds from past relationships that shaped how you love, trust, and protect yourself. You try to move forward, but certain memories still tighten your chest at night. You find yourself reacting to new situations with old pain. You struggle with believing that a healthy love could ever belong to you. You realize that God is calling you to confront what you buried. You feel God pulling you into deep emotional honesty. You may cry more, feel more, question more, and reflect more than usual. Your heart becomes more sensitive because real healing is happening beneath the surface. You notice how triggers reveal what still needs attention. You understand that God is making space inside you for love that is safe. You wrestle with fear because healing requires facing what you avoided. You feel vulnerable because you are used to hiding your pain behind strength. You understand that healing is not weakness but courage. You learn to forgive yourself for staying in unhealthy places longer than you should have. You begin to recognize that God is restoring your heart one layer at a time. You accept that God cannot bless you with the marriage you want while you carry wounds that sabotage the love He is preparing. You allow Him to rebuild your heart with wisdom instead of fear. You begin to trust that your future spouse deserves a healed version of you. You embrace the truth that healing is part of your preparation, not punishment. You realize that your restored heart is the foundation of the marriage God will bring. 3. The sacrifice of patience when God's timing feels slow. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for Him. You reach seasons where waiting feels like a burden instead of a blessing. You ask God why things are taking longer than you expected. You watch other people receive love, marriage, or companionship and wonder why your story feels paused. Your emotions shift between faith and frustration. You feel God asking you to trust Him without rushing Him. You begin to notice how waiting builds character you didn't know you needed. Your patience stretches beyond what feels comfortable. Your desires mature as you gain clarity on what love should look like. Your spirit strengthens because time reshapes your expectations. You understand that waiting is not denial, it is preparation. You struggle because waiting forces you to confront your fears of being forgotten. You worry that God may not hear your prayers. You feel moments of loneliness that test your faith. You face insecurities about whether marriage is truly meant for you. You realize that waiting exposes what God wants to heal. You accept that God's timing is shaping you into the person your future marriage requires. You trust that God is aligning circumstances you cannot see. You understand that rushed love collapses, but prepared love lasts. You grow grateful for the delays that protect your heart. You recognize that patience is not passive, it is powerful. 4. The sacrifice of changing your habits and personal patterns. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. You realize that some of your habits are not compatible with a healthy marriage. You feel God pressing you to grow in areas you once ignored. You start noticing patterns that repeat themselves in relationships. You see places where you avoided accountability. You feel God calling you to evolve. You confront habits that are easy but harmful. You acknowledge how past relationships exposed weaknesses. You begin to change the way you communicate. You work on controlling reactions that once damaged connection. You understand that growth will not happen by accident. You feel discomfort because change demands discipline. You may feel frustrated with yourself during the process. You may feel ashamed of old behaviors that no longer reflect who you want to be. You push through emotional resistance. You accept that growth requires honesty. You realize that your future marriage needs the version of you God is shaping now. You understand that habits affect intimacy, communication, and trust. You embrace the fact that your spouse deserves your best effort, not your old patterns. You grow excited about becoming emotionally stronger. You recognize that personal change is a sacred sacrifice. 5. The sacrifice of releasing control and trusting God fully. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. You reach a place where you understand that love cannot be forced, controlled, or demanded. You realize that God decides the right person and the right timing. You feel Him asking you to stop trying to manage every detail. You recognize how fear tries to make you hold on too tightly. You sense God guiding you to surrender. You begin to release the pressure you placed on yourself. You stop trying to predict every outcome. You stop trying to rush what God is still preparing. You start breathing easier because surrender brings peace. You understand that trust is an act of faith, not defeat. You battle internal tension because surrender feels risky. You fear being disappointed again. You worry that God's path may not look like your plan. You question whether letting go will cost you too much. You realize that trust is the foundation of the love God wants you to receive. You finally accept that control was never meant to be yours. You choose peace instead of anxiety. You allow God to lead you, shape you, and align you. You rest in the truth that God knows what you do not. You recognize that surrender is the highest form of trust. Your heart grows stronger when you surrender what God already showed you is no longer part of your future. His peace becomes the proof that He is guiding you toward the love He prepared. If the content inspired you, please like, comment, and subscribe to Pure Inspirational. Be blessed.